In Game of Thrones, Dragonstone is the dramatic windswept ancestral home of House Targaryen. All dark cliffs, crashing waves, and volcanic energy. It's where Daenerys returns to reclaim her birthright, where Jon Snow meets his fate, and where a lot of very serious brooding happens. In real life, it's San Juan de Gaztelugatxe.
Wow, you said it. You had the very difficult pronunciations in this little mini series.
Gaztelugatxe. Yes.
Or Dragonstone.
Or Dragonstone. We kept calling it Dragonstone the whole time because
it's difficult to pronounce.
It is. San Juan de Gaztelugatxe. And yes, it's every bit as breathtaking as it is on screen. I am Laura Senior Garcia.
Nalini Sharma, and this is Made in Spain.
Welcome to episode 3. Welcome to episode 3, season 3 of the Made in Spain podcast. We are super happy to be here with you for the last part of our 3-episode mini-series about Bilbao and the surrounding areas. Today we're going to focus on day trips from Bilbao. 2 very different, very, very special spots. Mm-hmm. We happen to do both of these in one day, but I would not suggest that, people do both. The name of our episode is From Dragonstone to Getxo, Epic Day Trips from Bilbao.
It honestly, and it is an epic day trip. So we originally had planned it for Getxo on the Saturday and then the Dragonstone on the Sunday. It just so happened that the car rental was Saturday, so we decided to do both at the same time. I think the idea was that we would have gone to Getxo, which is a municipality, a little town outside of Bilbao, 20 minutes by car, but also, fantastically, you can take the train there. So the metro, train, subway, I don't think it costs more than €3 to get you out to Getxo. The issue with that is that once you get there, it's a small town, but it's still a big town.
Yes,
so there's a lot of walking, and there are, I would say, 2 separate sides to it.
Yes.
In that it would be, unless you're a real walker and, but if you kind of want to enjoy your day, you would have to take a taxi or just factor that into your day or budget to take you from one side to the other.
There's also buses.
There are buses.
We sometimes are a little bit lazy about having to wait for the bus, look for the bus stop and all that, but there are buses. Mm-hmm. And if you want to get out there in the metro, it's line 1 towards Plencia. And it will take you about 30 minutes from central Bilbao.
But well worth the visit. Whether you go by car, whether you go by the train, we rented a car, which it cost us a little bit more than what we had budgeted for, only because we were doing 2 stops in one day. Otherwise, we would have gone and returned the car on time. We had to keep it an extra night just because we went out to Dragonstone the same afternoon. So
exactly. So now, €47 to rent a car from the city center of Bilbao.
Center of the city, yeah.
And then from there, you can take the car for the day, go explore in nature, go to the beaches, etc. So that is a really good option to do the car rental if you do want to get around to more than one place like we did.
And Laura did the driving, but very actually easy driving, well-paved roads, very well marked. It's not as if you're going to pull off, which has happened to me in the past, where you decide to go somewhere, but you pull off and then the road turns into no road. And then you're 2-lane road, but it should really be 1 in opposite direction. So that will not happen to you if you do this trip. It is very straightforward to get there.
It is. I will say that once you leave Bilbao, the signs are mostly in Basque.
Right.
So it's just something to be aware of. Good to have your Google Maps, your GPS, because they are mostly in Basque when you get out of there. So talk to us about Getxo. We started off in the mythical Dragonstone, and then we'll go back to it later. But Let's do our first stop in Getxo. It's a very, very special town.
Very special town. And I think what's really interesting about some of the towns that we visit, they end up being real sort of like just a surprise, because I sort of pictured Getxo as more of, I don't know, maybe more of a little village in a sense, but it's actually a throwback to a time where people had a lot of money. Yes. Spanish had a lot of money, and they would build their vacation homes there. So you have these really stunning, very large, I wouldn't call it castles, but
They kind of are.
semi-castles that they're that large.
I think really when you look at them, they remind me of chateaux. Like
They're
the
like
French.
exactly.
And if you think of where you are in the Basque Country, how close you are to France.
It's the architecture is very different. It does look like a chateau. A lot of the homes look like chateaux. Now they have turned into what I believe are little boutique hotels or apartments or separate, apartments
I still
that
think
you would buy.
some of them are private homes, but very few of them.
But that was where the wealthy would come to vacation. So it would be the same as if, in North America, you buy a cottage.
Hamptons.
Yeah, the Hamptons.
Getxo is Hamptons of Spain.
In a way, I would say yes, absolutely.
So I do know a while back someone mentioned to me that it was very much the elite from Madrid that either had connections or family members there, and also the elite from Bilbao.
Right.
So the industrial elite.
Families, yes. When you go there, you will see why. It is almost as if you are in a different part of Europe. And I know we've said that about, Bilbao or the surrounding region, but you could really be maybe in a little Swiss town.
Absolutely. And I think when you go to Getxo, though, it's kind of interesting. Even though we are talking about a day trip from Bilbao, it does not remind me of Bilbao at all.
Not at all.
Like the way that the architecture, like you said, the homes, the landscape, the port, it does feel like you're in a totally different area.
Completely. And we drove. I would just recommend that have patience with parking because we went and listen, we are traveling off season. So if you are traveling in the middle of summer, I would maybe not recommend taking the car, or if you do take a car, be prepared to be very diligent with parking or arrive early to find a parking spot. Because the one thing that I have found traveling to some of the, not just Getxo, but other cities, smaller cities or towns within Spain, is that parking is very limited, especially in tourist season. And that becomes difficult. So pack your patience with that.
There's one more thing as well. We didn't visit it, but there is a very nice beach there.
Beautiful beach.
Yes.
Really, really beautiful beach. So
watch that. The water is very cold though, because again, as we mentioned in the last episode with the food, it is the Atlantic. And some people might think, oh, Spain, beach. It's like,
no, it's
not the Med, so it's very, very cold.
And also people surf there. So that just gives you an idea of the type of water that you have and the waves. But it was established in the 12th century, and it's basically a seafaring town. And over time I would say it was kind of like a playground for the elite. Mm-hmm. And it has evolved since then. Now I think it's maybe people who are kind of retired there, or they want a really picturesque place to live, but maybe commute to the bigger city to work, because it's very quiet. I mean,
I think it took us like 18 minutes by car.
It
wasn't. I could definitely see if you lived there and you were commuting to Bilbao, for example, it would not be a big deal.
No, and it's these beautiful, very quiet, tree-lined streets. I mean, there's the grittier side to get, which we ended up walking through. Yeah. But they're not in a bad way. It's just that you have this really kind of picturesque, very different looking area closer to the port with all these stately homes, the trees, the fancy boutiques, really nice restaurants, and boutique hotels, and then you have a slightly grittier side to it. So that's just the split between. But it's a small town, but it's still big enough that you can spend the entire day and enjoy 100%. Many things to do.
So one of the things to do that we didn't actually find out till the very day before, I was actually looking on social media of like, things to do in Getxo, because I had been there before a while back, but it was mostly centered around eating and seeing the port area, is the hanging bridge, which is also called the Puente de Vizcaya. It is a really, really interesting visit, and especially for the engineering fans, I think they would absolutely love this spot. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 2006, and it was built in 1893. Interesting fact that I found out afterwards in doing a little bit of the research for this episode that I didn't realize when we were there, is that it was designed by Alberto de Palacio, who is a student of Gustav Eiffel.
Oh, that makes sense.
It does.
When you get there, it's like,
Why does this strangely remind me of the Eiffel Tower?
No, that makes sense. So we went there and we thought, okay, well, let's go up and we'll go up the bridge. So you can take an elevator, you buy tickets, you take the elevator up and you can you're crossing over the river to the other side. Now, it's really not a tourist attraction. It has become a tourist attraction, but it's functional for the people who live there. It is
functional.
Because you have to cross. So if you live on the other side of the river and you have to get to that side or leave, you have to use the bridge, put your car on it to get across to exit the city.
It's €10 if you're doing it, as Nalini said, as a tourist. And by the way, I would not recommend going to the top of the bridge like we did if you are afraid of heights.
Do not do that.
We are not afraid of heights, but if you are afraid of heights, you can actually see through the wood plants at the top, and it is a huge drop. And I could see how someone with, who fear of heights would really struggle there. But so maybe don't do that if you are. But if you are not, it's a really cool experience. In that €10, you also get included going on this thing that hangs off the bridge.
It's a cable car.
Is it a cable car?
Yeah, I mean, it's how you would describe it. So it's like a cable car that goes from one side to the other. It's basically
suspended gondola.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. So and really, there were some tourists on there, but there were also people who just live there.
Yeah.
They just live there and they have their pass, I guess their resident pass, to cross over, and it's just a normal thing for them from one side to the other, that this is what they do on a daily basis.
Yes. Scare of a lifetime, and we went all the way up to the top, and for some reason they put a mannequin in the, I don't know if you see it. They put a mannequin in like the little thing where they used to operate the suspended gondola from, and all of a sudden we realized it wasn't a human being.
The mannequin is kind of like slumped over.
Strange.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, we're running into that heart attack. Yeah.
And they do tell you at not the midpoint, because we did not walk. The day we went was actually quite cool.
It was windy.
And it was windy. But we got to a certain point on the bridge where it tells you that if enough people were to jump on the bridge at the same time, you would feel it move.
And didn't it actually? Yes, I was like, yeah.
No thanks.
Thank you for letting me know about that when we're up here. No, it was interesting because obviously we were with your children. I think they really enjoyed it.
Oh my god, they loved it, and
they loved making us nervous while we were up there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was Getxo.
Yeah, we had lunch at the Italian.
Yes.
Delicious.
So super recommend. We mentioned it in episode 2, but it was Casa Liotta.
Yes.
Right? Very, very nice. And again, very affordable.
Very affordable. I would say we did not have, in any place that we went, poor service.
Except our hotel.
Except the hotel.
Which, by the way, was also the most outrageously expensive meal for a BLT. Other than that, I think that was it. Definitely.
And again, if you are going in a peak season even if it's off season, I always recommend to people, please just go online. If you can make a reservation, just make a reservation.
Yes.
If you can't keep it, cancel it. But at least you have somewhere. Don't assume that you can just stroll into any place and have a lunch, because that may not happen.
And as a business owner here, I would say make sure you cancel. It doesn't cost anything, and people really appreciate it. Especially not knowing that you're not going to show up. All right, so let's go from Getxo.
Yes, to honestly, the highlight of the trip.
I think so, and a surprise highlight. I think,
right,
and probably a surprise highlight for you as well, because your kids and I kept going on about Game of Thrones, and I know you mentioned you hadn't watched it, and you're probably thinking, what are these people going on about about the location. So tell me a little bit about first impressions.
Okay, well, let's first talk about how to actually get
not ruin your day.
No, to get in, because if you listen to nothing else in this episode and you decide for some reason you're going there, you must reserve your tickets.
So we were sitting in Valencia Airport, midday, and we're talking about, what are you excited for? What are you excited for? And we started talking about, and I'm going to say it right this time, San Juan de Gaztelugatxe.
Right.
And someone from the group, I believe it was your oldest son, said, I think you need tickets.
Yeah.
We start, and I went, how can you need tickets? It's, a beach. It's a public place. So in my head, there's no, why would you need tickets? And then Nalini all of a sudden went really quiet and started just doing like a deep search on her phone. I didn't understand what was going on. So can you explain?
Because I told Laura, I said, you've never seen somebody interpret Spanish as fast as me in that Valencia airport. I'm like, oh my God, I think I know what this means. I think I know what this means. Because everyone was saying Spanish. Thank God it wasn't in
Basque.
Yeah, because then I would definitely be lost. But I started to read, and it says that you need tickets. It is not negotiable. They are free. So our thing was that we don't like to necessarily pay for a tour or tickets, because then you're locked into that time, and maybe you don't want to do an entire tour that is X number of hours long, especially I've never seen the show. So in our minds, we thought, oh, we'll just see it from the distance. You cannot see it from a distance. You need the tickets.
Yes.
So we go on. I booked the last 4 of 6 tickets available for that Saturday. And in my excitement, I thought it said 5:30, but it was 6:30, which I didn't know until Saturday.
Yes.
Until we were sitting in the lobby ready to get the rental car, and I said, let me just double check that I actually have the reservation. And I checked, and I said, what's 18:30? Because I know it's 6:30.
Yes.
My son's like, that's 6:30. I said, I'm sorry. He's like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do for the next 6 hours?
Yes.
So we thought, you know what? Let's go. Let's see what they say. Maybe we'll get in early. Anyway, we drive from Getxo. How long was it? Maybe half
45 minutes.
Oh, 40. Oh, yeah, actually, sorry. It was long because we took the highway.
Yes.
If you have a reservation that is a certain time, you have to know that they will not let you in prior to 10 minutes before your time.
It doesn't matter.
It's a digital entrance system. So it scans your ticket. And the guy kept saying to us, it's not me, it's the machine. It's not me, it's the machine. And we're like, just let us in. But there are beaches that you can stop at prior if if the weather's nice. You can stop, you can spend some time on the beach, you can swim if you want. I mean, if that's what you want to do. Or you can just drive to the location. So what was your first impression?
So first of all, if you've watched the Game of Thrones, the location is a very gray and cold, it's a cave of dragons.
Okay.
So in my mind, I thought, okay, I'm sure some of it is digitalized and so on and so forth, but I didn't really picture such a spectacular spot. Wow. I was picturing something a lot darker and grayer, because that's what you see in the show.
Right.
So my first impression when we got there is like, where are we? I've been to Galicia, I've been to other places in the north of Spain, but just the impression of how did they build this? Where it looks like a little wall of China, really, that goes out to this beautiful church on a stone or hill or almost an island that looks like a resting dragon. That's why
the rock formation actually in the water. That's what it looks like, a dragon asleep in the water.
Yes, it is so gorgeous. So when Game of Thrones was at its peak, there were so many tours, professional tours. People would cosplay, dress up to go out there. Wow. And I think it became absolutely huge.
Right.
And I'm not sure that before that they actually had this ticketing system in place.
No, I can tell you. It says here that the digital tickets began in the summer of 2018 because of the Game of Thrones. And a year later, 700...
Slice of life.
Slice of life. Okay, first, what are we eating and drinking? Maybe not the combination we would recommend, but this is what transpired.
We may end up in a bad place after this combination.
Yeah.
But, we wanted to get all these little bits and pieces into our mini-series about, the Basque Country and Bilbao. So this is the end of this mini-series before we go into the hidden gems, etc. So, we are drinking calimocho.
Right.
So I'm going to just
open that. Okay, I will describe what it is. It is basically equal parts red wine, typically inexpensive red wine, and Coca-Cola. History of calimocho is it was consumed, I think, in the early 1920s and not necessarily popular because Coca-Cola was not widely available in Spain. It wasn't until the 50s that Coca-Cola opened the plant and it became a little bit more common. Getxo is said to have been the birthplace of Calimocho. In the early 70s, they were celebrating the patron saint of St. Nicholas. The town had ordered...
Like St. Nicholas, like Santa Claus?
Well, I think it might be their patron saint because it was in August. It was in August. They ordered thousands of liters of wine, and upon tasting it, realized that the wine had gone sour. So to make it palatable to all the revelers and partygoers, etc., they added cheap cola to it to sweeten it.
What year was this on?
Early 70s.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Again, it could be fake news, but that is what the town of Getxo says.
We are recreating our own history here.
They invented it, all right? That's what they're saying. Okay, so I've never tried this.
I think you should put more Coke in it.
What? I put this whole can.
Okay.
I put Coca-Cola in here. Okay,
So-
cheers.
Cheers.
For the record, Laura doesn't like this drink.
I told it. Oof. It needs more Coke. What do you think?
I don't know.
It is basically red wine, ice, and Coca-Cola. And the reason why I'm not a big fan of this drink, as I mentioned to Nalini, at an undisclosed age, because that would be inappropriate to disclose, when you're growing up here, this is like the cheapest drink you can get.
Of course.
Because you go to the store, you get this wine that comes out of something that looks like a milk carton, basically. It doesn't even come in a bottle. And you mix it up with the cheapest Coke you can get.
Yeah.
And, you know, everybody drinks that. And I can tell you, it is not a pleasant experience the following morning. Cheap red wine with cheap Coca-Cola. And it's called Calimocho. Obviously, I'm sure there are much better Calimochos than that version of it. But that's my memory of Calimocho.
I'm going to say no, just because there's 2 ingredients. So unless you are elevating your red wine, which I don't know why you would use an expensive red wine to mix.
We are using an expensive red wine here because it's the only thing we have. But usually you would not use an expensive red wine for Calimocho because it would be brutal. Okay. So we're going to part this amazing drink for those who love it. And now we're going to mix it with the most odd thing you could mix red wine and Coca-Cola with.
Basque cheesecake, burnt Basque cheesecake. So I made this.
It's way better than Calimocho.
It actually tastes really nice. In 2021, New York Times named the food version of the New York Times, that division, named the burnt Basque cheesecake as the taste of the year.
Ooh.
So it really...
When was this?
2021.
Ooh.
Yeah. It was not created until the 80s in, again, I believe San Sebastian, where a chef came up with this very, again, simple idea of using the ingredients on hand. It's almost, in a sense, a bit of a mistake because it's a custard that you bake. There's no crust to it. And one of the reasons of not having a crust is the restaurant, I believe it's called La Viña, they didn't have enough space to add that extra step of... I lost my fork and I have soggy Basque cheesecake.
Give it rest. Just give you clean. Yeah. Okay. Quick pause. Do you want a piece of paper? I was like, boink.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the first time I've dropped something actually in all the episodes.
Oh, that's funny.
We should keep that in. That's actually very funny.
Yeah.
Have you had one of these?
No, I wouldn't even go there, thank you. Well, I thought it was meant to be equal parts, and I think you had a bit more red wine than Coke anyway.
Well, it's just like so funny, some of these things. Anybody with a paper towel?
Oh, you want
So she's getting a paper towel.
Sorry.
Here, I'm hungry. That was funny. Burnt Basque cheesecake.
I'll put that one in the outtakes.
Boink.
Thank you. That was funny. I'll just do a pickup. Okay, wait. Hold on. Now we've got cheesecake on the carpet. Thank God.
Normally, I drink the stuff that we're talking about, but I ain't drinking this.
No, you just hold it.
I ain't drinking this.
It's really awful. And it's sad because it is an expensive wine, but just the Coca-Cola.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Let me just check your breath. Can you lower your mic a tiny bit? That's it. And you just a tiny bit lower. Yeah, perfect. Is that all right for you?
Yeah.
Just test the audio.
That's okay.
Sure.
Yes,
Okay.
I think you were talking about the custard and the white.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but I don't know if you said you wanted to leave it in where you dropped the fork or not.
yeah, you could as
Okay,
a little
so-
outtake or something.
Okay, so if you just pick up, it'll be easy enough to do after.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
We'll let you stop. Should be fine.
Okay, so the reason the cheesecake does not contain a crust, it was just out of efficiency that they didn't have as much space. A crust would take more time. It was just
It's also more expensive.
more expensive. It's 5 ingredients, and you basically, I mean, other than a few steps of what to put first, the cream cheese, sugar, you cream that, you add a little bit of vanilla, eggs, and a pinch of flour to have it set, and then you just bake it.
So,
That was it.
what are the 5 ingredients? Flour, sugar.
Very little flour. So it's cream cheese, flour, I would say a considerable amount of eggs, 5 eggs. Some recipes call for 7. I don't know what size of cheesecake that is, but and then you have I added a pinch of vanilla and a sprinkling of flour.
I would describe it as a mix between flan and custard and cheesecake.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's very sweet. It's light, but it's not really light. It's quite
I really like it
dense.
because it's also, I don't actually like New York style cheesecake because I find it too heavy.
Right.
So I really enjoy this. It's great.
It's actually really nice. And the only reason I think they call it burnt Basque cheesecake, it's just the combination of the ingredients. You don't have to do anything to get it that golden color. It's the eggs and the sugar
Yummy.
and the fat in the cheese that makes it that color. So
I have heard that, people do this cheesecake with kind of the stronger cheeses as well. Like the Idiazabal cheese, like almost like a savory version of it.
no, this was my first attempt and I think it came out alright.
85. Okay, so for our slice of life today, apart from bringing you the wonderful calimocho and the truly wonderful Basque cheesecake,
Great combo.
yes, what we wanted to talk about was some date ideas, and what inspired us to talk about date ideas was when we were in San Juan de Gaztelugatxe. There was a couple sitting behind us, also I guess waiting to get in to do the walk, and I just found it hilarious because you could obviously tell they were on their first or second date. They were very excited, and they were speaking half in Spanish and half in Basque.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there, trying not to listen to the conversation, but picking up on obviously half of what was going on.
Right.
They kept switching from Basque to Spanish, and I thought, oh, this is such an amazing idea for a date.
Until I pointed out to Laura the tickets are free.
Yeah. And then she said,
She's like,
what would you think? If they
She's
bring you here and it's
it's such a cute place for a date. I'm like, the tickets are free.
Yeah.
Like,
so I said, okay, let's talk about a few options for dates. And Melanie very rightly pointed out, we haven't been in the dating scene for a while. It's like, hey, a date doesn't have to be with a new relationship. It could be with your husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is. So something nice to do. So we have 3 proposals to bring to you that are for different budgets for dates in this Bilbao, Getxo, etc. area. The first one is budget but cute.
okay.
And it would be something we haven't actually talked about in these 3 episodes. There's a flower market on Sundays that is absolutely gorgeous. And it's in front of the river area. And
that area is called Casca Viejo.
it's Casco Viejo, yes. So it's basically the old town that looks very medieval.
Right.
And it's very, very pretty. There's some cool spots around there. So we thought 15 euros would get you there in the metro, or even you could walk. You probably don't
Very
even
easily,
need the
yeah.
metro. You can buy a flower or a couple of nice flowers and a couple of specialty coffees or teas and sit in front of the river.
Absolutely. It's very cute and very odd in that the flower market, everybody is kind of like clamoring to buy flowers, and they're obviously local. It's not tourists because you have nowhere to put the flowers.
No,
But
it's just
I think
flowers
it's-
for home.
I think it's a thing they do, on a Sunday. They go down to the flower market because you see people leaving after and they've got their bunch of flowers that they're taking to their home. So it's really pretty. It's very cute. And
there's also like a book area as well. Like
their books, they have
books,
coins. It's just like a little market on a Sunday.
Strange people like buying DVDs. They were, and I said, I'm feeling really old because that does not feel like vintage to me yet.
Actually, it's very funny. There is a huge kind of DVD section, and people were buying DVDs. Buying it.
Like you would buy old vintage records.
No, and I said, are they buying DVDs?
Yes.
She's like, yeah. What are they watching it on? It's so
a DVD player. So that's the first budget option. The second one we thought would be good is a classy local escape, which would be Getxo. So again, if you're there, you could visit the hanging bridge, you could take a metro ride, and we would recommend the wonderful pizza from the Italian restaurant. We really think all of that can be done in a €50 budget.
Yeah.
Metro, visit the bridge, and have a nice piece of pizza and a beer.
Also, under the €50 range, I would highly recommend the Guggenheim because 2 people can go for under 50 and have a coffee.
Yes.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, even actually more than, $2.15. Yes, absolutely. Guggenheim and that idea as well. And the final one that we recommend for 100 or under, which we've called coastal drama, is the Dragonstone visit, either for the Game of Thrones fan or no Game of Thrones fan. It doesn't really matter. The place is absolutely gorgeous.
That's if you have to rent a car. So if you're renting a car and you're going out there, again, tickets are free. So that is absolutely no problem.
Yeah, so you could really do this as the cheapest day of all. But what we would recommend is, because even though you are ticketed and there is a machine at the front, you're not timed. We would recommend taking a picnic basket with a bottle of champagne or a bottle of cava or Basque cider, not calimocho.
But also just to mention that when you get I guess it's once you get down the stairs in the central spot, there are several other trails that you could go off on.
Yes.
You don't have to go to the castle, or you can do those trails and then go to the castle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that one with maybe some sandwiches, etc. And we do have a beach here that is the Playa de Sopelana that is also in that area.
Oh, okay.
That, could be a really good idea as part of that little trip. So you've got 15, 50, 100, independent of your budget.
Little ideas.
Yes, little ideas. Make the most out of it while you're visiting these wonderful places. So,
all right. We're on to our place of the day.
Sentence of the day.
Okay.
So for this one, el que avisa no es traidor.
Okay, that one, no. I'm just,
You can do it. Your Spanish is getting so good. El que avisa no es traidor.
I don't know.
Okay. The one who warns is not a traitor.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that one. They're all good, but this one's good. Yeah.
So if I warn you, you can't say el que avisa no es traidor. So if let's say, for example, if you already know or have given a heads up to someone,
right?
You can't really blame that person.
I understand.
After they've already, I'm not having a good day, and then all of a sudden you end up in an argument because you're picking on that person or something. It's like, hey, el que avisa no es traidor. Like, if I warned you, I'm not a traitor. Don't ask me why the whole traitor warned, but that's the sentence. El que avisa no es traidor.
Good. I feel that was very Game of Thronesy.
Right?
Yeah. It's very Game of Thrones. All right. Well, we've had, I would say, our worst food combination for the entire cheesecake and red wine.
Cool,
But still good. Separately.
The cake was good.
Maybe.
I'm not going to recommend calimocho. But yes.
Not in our flavor profile.
It's not, but it is definitely something you're going to find at every bar.
Everywhere you go. in Bilbao in the Basque region. So thank you to Bilbao for having us.
Yes, we
Appreciate it.
absolutely loved it.
We loved it. We would love to go back.
Absolutely. And San Sebastian as well is that definitely on our radar. We will go back to the Basque Country and cover it in the Made in Spain podcast. For the next few episodes, again, I want to mention to you what we have coming up. We do have a Hidden Gems episode that we're going to be doing. We are going to be going back to some of the fashion subjects, specifically hats. So we're going to be talking about hat making here. So as you know, we've talked about shoemaking, we've talked about Loewe, we've talked about some of the kind of big brands in that space, but there are some seriously up and coming hat brands and also some that have been established since the 1920s that we're going to be covering in the next few episodes.
And they're also affordable.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, it's Spanish fashion and affordable.
Absolutely. So looking forward, please make sure that you connect with us on socials. We'd love to hear from you. And we're looking forward to joining our listeners in the next few episodes.
All right. Bye for now.